Hey everybody, welcome to this channel. My name is Mehdi and today I'm going to turn this model to this and let's do it together. But before jumping to the video, I just want to introduce you the brand new course that we released for Substance Painter. And after that, we jump into the video and start the texturing process. Learning Substance Painter is easier than ever. Hey all substance lovers, texture seekers, and awesome future artists. Welcome to Ultimate Course for Learning Substance Painter from zero to hero. Ready to learn how to texture with different projects? Substance Master released a brand new course for those who want to learn to texture with Substance Painter. In this course, we cover from preparing the model to rendering different projects, different challenges. If you want to level up your skill in texturing, come and check the Substance Master Ultimate course for learning Substance Painter. Okay, after receiving the model, I just import it to Substance Painter, and for the first step, we need to bake the mesh maps. And for this purpose, I just need to go to the bake room, and in here, I just turn on the bent normal, change output size to 4K, and anti-aliasing to 64x super sampling. So this is a simple setting because we don't have any high poly. After these settings, you can just press bake, select the textures, and we are done in the baking process. Let's go to the texturing. Okay. First of all, I'm going to create a fill layer, a base. And in the texture set setting, I just add ambient occlusion channel to my channel list because I want to take care about the ambient occlusion during the texturing process. Okay, and that's it. Let's create folders and mask and categorize the surface on the model. Okay, now I just create the mask for the folders and categories. So let's break down what's happening here. Okay, for the first one, I just use a paint layer and select the blade section. Okay, for the second one, again, I use a paint layer and choose the area that I need to have the plastic surface on it. Okay, and in it, as you can see, we have two different folders, the plastic number 1, the plastic number 2, which means we have two different surfaces for the plastic. Okay, and as you can see, I just use paint layer to select the area that I want. So this is the basic one. And for the steel part, I just use anchor point to create dynamic mask. As you can see, I have this fill layer which contains all the surface on the model, and I just subtract the blade and the plastic. So these are the part that I need to create the steel material for that. So this is the simple step to create mask and create different category in Substance Painter. And let's go for the creating the first surface. So I'm going to focus on the steel, blade, and at the end the plastic. So let's go for the steel. Okay, let's turn this fill layer number 4 to metal. And in here, in material mode, I'm going to search about metal. Yeah, this one, metal polish. Okay, this is a very good starting point. Okay, and let's use some preset here. I think heavy polished silver is good. Yeah, and in the metal type, let's go change it to something like cobalt. Okay, that's good. Let's decrease the scratch intensity. Great. Metal roughness. Okay, like this. And I think we are good here. But I'm going to add a filter. And in here, I'm going to search finish rough. Okay, that's great. And let's keep it just in normal. I don't want to affect on any channel. And I'm going to play with the scale. Okay, something like 6. It's good. Okay, let's increase the scale grunge 2 to something like, I think 3 is good. And in brush intensity, okay, maybe this amount is better. Okay, that's great. So let's go for the second layer. I'm going to add a color variation here. Okay, color variation with just color. Okay, and the color, I think the brown is good. Okay, let's change it to brown. That's great. And let's add a black mask here. Add the fill layer. And in the fill layer, I'm going to search about the vibe. And small g, yeah. Yeah, I think this one is good. Okay, and we can increase the tiling. You know, the previous one is better. Okay, like this. Yeah. And we can decrease the opacity itself. Okay, let's go for the next layer. For the next layer, I'm going to create the color variation number 2. So we can rename this layer to color variation number 1 for better ordering in the layers. And in the color variation number 2, I need color, roughness, and metallic. Okay, for the roughness, let's choose value something like 65. And for the color, I'm going to use dark value like a dark brown. Okay, something like this. It's like the dirt thing on the surface. But for the mask, I'm going to use something special here. So let me show you something. Okay, we have this product in our market, multi-purpose imperfection, roughness, and stencil. So basically, they are just black and white map, and you can use it in many ways. For example, here I'm using as a mask for the color, or in the future, I'm going to use it as a roughness mask or roughness value or something like this. So the base thing here is to have a collection of black and white masks in different categories and different mode. So I'm going to use this product. You can find the link in the description, and I just want to explain you this. Okay, and in here, let's use the 92 MK multi-purpose imperfection. Okay, and let's increase tiling to 4. That's great. And yeah, let's go for the next layer. This one is like color variation number 3. And in here, I need color, height, roughness, and metallic. Okay, for the color, I'm going to use pure white. Okay, and when we use pure white, we need to change the blending mode to something like soft light to create a brighter value in the color that we have already. So for the height, I'm going to change it to negative 0.005. And for the roughness, I think let's change it to 45. Okay, and the metallic, the base metallic is 1. Okay, but in here, I'm going to create variation in the metallic too. So let's change it to something like 0.9. Okay, you know, the logic And in theory, we need to change the metallic value 0 and 1. There is no between value for that. But whenever we can change it and achieve the good looking material, it's okay to do that. Okay, but the rule is keep it as 0 or 1. So, okay, let's add a black mask here. I'm going to use a generator, curvature. Okay, let's go to the mask. I'm going to decrease the amount. Okay, that's good. And let's add a fill layer. And again, I'm going to use MK multipurpose imperfection. So the map I'm going to use is 059. Okay, that's great. Let's change the tiling to 4. Okay, we have good variation here, and I'm going to change it to multiply to see the map just only on the curvature area. Okay, so great. That's great. Let's go for the next layer. The next layer is the first scratches layer. Okay, let's call it number 1. Maybe we have more in the future, but right now I just need to change the value, the color to something like near pure white. Okay, change the blending mode to soft light. And for the height, let's add a negative value. Okay, I need to increase metallic to 1. And for the roughness, let's choose this value, 0.7. So it's okay. And let's add the mask. Okay, now we can increase our speed with using a smart mask or pre-made mask inside Substance Painter. I'm going to use this subtle scratch and just drag and drop on the mask. Okay. And we have something like this, and it's okay. So I can continue my way, and let's create the next layer, the dirt. Okay, and in the dirt, I just need to have color, roughness, and metallic. Okay, for the roughness, let's choose something like 0.8. And for the color, let's choose the dark value. Okay. And yeah, I think we need to have metallic here. Okay, so let's add black mask here. Just use a simple generator here, like dirt. Okay, that's good. And let's play with the value. Okay, for the small asset, I just need to change grunge scale to 1, because when you increase the grunge scale on a small asset, you just have small noise on the surface, not actually grunge or dirt. So let's decrease it to 1. Okay, we can play with the grunge amount, but I think it's good. It's enough. Okay, yeah, that's it. Let's decrease the contrast here. Okay. And let's create the next layer. For the next layer, I'm going to create the surface details, or it's better to call it edge details, because I'm going to use a generator curvature. Okay, but not in this mode. Let's decrease the global balance to something like this. That's great. Okay, and I don't need to have a single channel in the fill layer. and just add a filter. And in the filter, let's use this one, grind. And I just need it in a normal section. Okay, so we can increase the scale and increase intensity too. Okay, so we have some edge detail like this. So that's okay. And let's have the second scratches layer. Okay, I hope we follow the same spelling here. And for this one, I'm going to keep the color, height, roughness, and metallic. Okay, for the roughness, let's choose something like 85, 0.85. And for the height, let's choose something like deeper compared to scratch number 1. Okay. And for the color, I think, darker value is good. Okay, that's great. Let's add a black mask here. And for the mask, I'm going to use the famous scratch generator in the Substance Painter. Okay, I think I messed up with removing textures. Okay, yeah. So the grunge scratches rough is the famous generator inside Substance Painter. We can create any type of a scratch very easy. So let's increase tiling to 3, play with the balance, play with the scratch quantity. Okay, and we have our scratch here. That's great. Okay, let's increase tiling to 5 and play with the balance to something like 20, for example. Increase contrast. Okay, and we can increase scratch quantity. Play with the seed. Okay, and that's it. I think we are good. We have some small detail on the surface. So let's create a text effect here. Okay, I'm going to put the text in the name, black mask. Okay, and add the fill. And let's go here. Just search font. Okay, we need to go to the alpha. And this one is good. Put it in a grayscale. Change the type to bold. Okay, now we need to fix the position. Let's change the UV wrap to none so we can control this text in free mode. Okay, and yeah, we have the text here. So let's put the 3D red box for now. Okay, and play with the size. We can play with the size here. So for the text, I'm going to use color, height, and metallic. Let's choose this value for the height. Okay, I think it's too much. Yeah, this one is better. Okay, and for the color, let's choose something like dark gray. Yeah, and let's add an anchor point here. Go to the next layer. I'm going to rename this to author text. That's great. Oh, this is a mistake. And let's add a black mask. Add fill, duplicate it. Just add a filter like blur. Okay. Let's load the text anchor point here again. And just, change the blending mode to subtract. So now we have this kind of effect. And when you, subtract the surface on the metal, it's not like, straight lines. So we can change the mood with the warp filter. So it's too much, but we can use something like this. Intensity, increase source tiling, play with the intensity too. Yeah, to have this kind of effect. Okay, for the layer itself, I just need to have color, height, and roughness. For the roughness, let's choose something like 0.9. And for the height, maybe 0.1 is good. And for the color, very dark value. That's great. This is our metal. Okay, for now, I'm keep this and we make more interesting point on the metal surface soon. Okay, let's go and focus on the blade section. Okay, now it's time to focus on the blade section. Okay, let's rename it to metal. And I'm going to change the value of the color to something like, medium gray. And we don't need to change anything in the height. For the roughness, let's choose something like 0.67, for example. And for the metallic, I'm going to increase it to a 1, and that's it. So let's add a filter again. And I'm going to use the grain filter. Okay, and for the scale, let's choose 4. And for the intensity, let's decrease the intensity. Yeah, something like this. So basically, we have the base material here with just single layer, but let's add some variation and other layers. For example, for the first one, let's call it surface bump. Okay, and here I just need to have color and height. For the height, maybe this value is good. And I'm going to pick some bright brown here, like this. Okay, let's go for the mask. For the mask, I'm going to use the famous clouds texture in Substance Painter. Okay, cloud number 3. It's good. Let's increase tiling to 8. That's great. And I don't need to have the color like this. So we can decrease the opacity to something like, for example, 30. Okay. So let's add the second layer. Okay. For the second layer, I'm going to add some circular effect. So let's call it circle line. Okay, this one maybe it's a little tricky because we are going to use gradient dynamic in Substance Painter. In Designer, we can use it very easy, but in here, it's like maybe tricky one. So let's add a black mask here. I'm going to add a fill, and I need to have an area, a circle area here. So let's search about the circle. Okay, I think the circle invert is good. That's great. And let's keep hardness to something like 0.8. Let's go to the 2D view, change UV wrap to none, so we can control this mask very easy. Okay, so we have the ambient occlusion on the texture. So this is the back side, and we are going to use this island here. Okay, let's go. Oh, we need this one. So that was my mistake. So let's make the right position here. Okay, I think it's a little out of the center. Yeah, I think it's okay right now. That's great. So we can control, let's keep hardness to 1 and control the width with the balance. Okay, something like this. I think it's okay. And now I need to have the bevel. Okay, so let's bring the bevel. And yeah, this value, I think it's okay. So basically, when we are going to use gradient dynamic, it's like to create gradient on the gradient. Okay, so let's add filter and search about the gradient. And yeah, this is the gradient dynamic. And for the gradient source, let's use this gradient linear 2. Okay, and we can change the gradient orientation to vertical, and now as you can see we have the gradient on the circle. So we can increase tiling, okay, like this. But when you use tiling with even number, as you can see we have y value here, so we need to keep the number of tiling in odd mode. So for example 5, it's okay, or for example 3, it's much better. We can use 7, but it's too small, so I think 3 is good for now for this project. So we can control the distance in the bevel. As you can see, you can have different effect here. So you can play with this structure and reach something interesting result. So let's change the tiling to 9. Okay, I think it's too much. Maybe 7 is better, but we need to change the, yeah, we can increase our distance in the bevel. Okay, so we have this result. I think it's good. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, this one is better. It's so much better. So we can play with the gradient parameter here too to achieve something good like this. Play with the balance and etc. And let's add a filter like warp to avoid some the generic result. So it's a nightmare right now, but we can control it with intensity value here. So let's go for the layer itself. Okay, I just need to have color, height, and roughness. Okay, for the height, something like negative 0.1 is good. For the roughness, I think 0.9, it's a good value. And for the color, let's increase it to pure white, change the blending mode to soft light, and boom, we have a very good detail on the surface. So that's okay. Let's add the color variation layer. Okay, color variation number 1. Okay, now in here I just need to have color, roughness, and height. And we can have the metallic value too. For the roughness, let's choose something like 75. For the height, positive value is good for the small. And for the color, let's keep it pure white. But I'm not going to change the blending mode to something like soft light. Just play with the opacity value. I think 25 is good. Yeah. And let's go and add a black mask here. Go to the add fill. Okay, now let's use BNW spot number 1. Okay, increase styling to something like 8. But I need small dots on the surface. So we have dots here right now. Let's go to the mask. But we have some variation in big black, big white area. So I'm going to remove it with the filter. High pass. So let's decrease high pass, reduce to something like this. Okay, and let's add level. And now I can select small dots on the surface. Very easy, very fast. Okay, like this. So we have small dots, and let's add warp filter. So with the warp, we can have some interesting shape and avoid, the repetition mode in the dots. So this is the detail that I'm looking for. It's so perfect. So we can play with the balance. Okay, now let's go for the level. Okay. This one is better. This one is so much better. So that's great. Let's go for the edge detail. Okay, for the edge detail, I'm going to add black mask generator, and I'm going to use the metal edge generator, but without the big amount in the grunge. Okay, and I'm going to add warp filter again to have something like this. I'm going to subtract this layer from the base. Okay, and maybe with the roughness and metallic too. Okay, no, we don't need to have metallic on the surface, so just have roughness with the high amount. So you're done. That's great. And let's go for the next category, which is the plastic. Okay, now it's time to focus on the plastic part. For the plastic, I'm going to use a technique very often. Okay, so we have, something like this, a fill layer. Let's call it base plastic. Okay, and we have color like this one, and everything is okay. But we need some variation. So I'm not going to create the second layer for create a slight variation on the color or roughness or something like this. So I'm going to use this technique. Let's add fill, okay, as a sub layer on a base layer or main layer that we have before. And in here, I keep just color and give, for example, this texture too. let's increase styling and change blending mode to something like, for example, soft light. So we have variation right now on just single layer. So let's change it to multiply, for example, and we have the variation in different mode. So this is the main technique that I'm going to use, sometimes for color, sometimes for roughness, but mainly for this channel, I'm going to use this two technique. Okay, so let's create the first one. Let's remove this. Okay, and for the roughness of the base plastic layer, let's choose something like 85 for the roughness. So we have the rough surface here. And for the color, maybe something like dark blue. I think it's good. Yeah, something like this. Okay, maybe a little darker. And let's add sublayer, keep just color, and use dirt, dried. Okay, this one. Let's increase styling to 4. And I'm going to increase the balance to, yeah, this one. And let's change the blending mode to multiply. Okay, that's great. And we need to change the opacity value to, for example, 30. Okay, so we have the base layer for the material, and I'm going to create a fill layer and call it roughness variation number 1. So in the roughness variation number 1, I'm going to use a smart mask again. Okay, let's add black mask. And for the layer, let's keep the roughness value to 1. Okay, let's go to the mask mode. And in here, I'm going to use, for example, dust stain. Let's see. Yeah, it's good. It's good. So we can try another one too. For example, let's search about the stain. Okay. This one, I think it could be better. And we can combine these two together. Okay, so it's not, the rule. If you use a smart mask, you can just only use one of them. You can combine them to achieve the new look. So let's play with the global balance. For example, removing texture 2 and removing texture 1 and achieve this result. Okay. That's it. Let's decrease roughness value to something like 75 for the base, and in a roughness variation, we keep it as a 1. So I need some grip pattern here. So let's create the grip. Okay, and I just need to have height. So let's increase height. Let's add a black mask. So I need to define the area for the grip pattern. Okay, which is this part. So let's select this. Okay, and I'm going to add a fill layer and gradient linear 2. Okay, like this. Yeah. But we need to define, we need this area. So remove other area except this. So we can change the blending mode from normal to multiply, or we can do the invert. I mean, add a paint layer at top and subtract all the area except this. So it's okay, but maybe it's better to have some, gradient here. So let's add a filter like bevel. Okay. And as you can see, we have this slight transition from edge to the main surface. Okay, I can increase the smoothing to have better transition. Yeah. Okay, that's great. So let's add anchor point, because in the next layer I'm going to add the dirt, and we need this pattern to define for the dirt generator. Okay, so let's call it dirt, and let's add black mask generator and dirt. For this one we can use again like a smart mask here. Let's search about the dirt. Okay, for example, dirt splash, dirt spot, dusty dirt. Okay, let me use dusty dirt. Okay. Yeah, it's good. It's kind of good. And we can combine these two together. Okay, let's decrease the dirt value, decrease the grunge scale, grunge amount. And yeah, that's okay. So let's go over the layer itself. I just need to have color and roughness. For the roughness, let me choose 0.6, and for the color, maybe the brown color is good, but a little darker. Yeah, like this. So we can decrease the opacity to something like 60 for the dirt. That's okay. As you can see, we have the perfect dirt. Okay, so let's go for the next one. And I'm going to call it edge highlight. Edge highlight is useful to have more interesting render at the end, because whenever you try to lighting your object and it's not like heavy damage on it, heavy rust and this kind of stuff, the highlight on the edge, it's so important. So I'm going to create highlight value, low value on the roughness, something like this. And maybe it's good to have some whiteness on the edge with the soft light on the blending mode. So let's add the generator, and it's like the metal generator, as you can see. Okay, but not like this, because we don't need to have the grunge and the variable too much. Okay, that's enough. And let's decrease the opacity to something like 20 for the color. So now this is the before. Okay, but when we add edge highlight, as you can see, we have much more interesting shape in the render. So that's okay to have this. And this is the end for the plastic number 1. Let's go for the plastic number 2. Okay, now it's time to focus on the yellow plastic. But before continuing the material creation, let me add something on the mask. Okay, I need this part. Let's add a fill layer, put it in white, change the UV wrap to none, change the blending mode to subtract, and okay, put it here. That's great. So I just need to create these two yellow line on this section. Okay, and yeah, and for this plastic I can borrow some layers from down. I don't need grip, so let's put them here. Remove the fill layer. Okay, I just need to change the color to something like yellow. Okay, and I am going to pick the color from the reference. That's great. So I can increase the reflective area in here. Okay, and a little in this area too. So for the dirt, let's put it on dark gray. Okay, and I'm going to remove the opacity value. Okay, like this. So we have the base plastic material on surface here, but I'm going to add some color variation to create more interesting plastic surface. So color variation number 1 and the color variation number 2. Let's add black mask to both of them. That's great. So for the first one, I just need to have color, and let's keep it like, yeah, a light brown, something like this. Yeah. Okay. And I'm going to add a fill layer, search about the leaks. Okay, I think grunge leaks, it's okay. So let's change tiling to 4. Okay, we can change rotation to 90. Yeah, it's better. But, in general mode, we don't want to have this strong effect. So we can decrease the opacity of the layer or just decrease the opacity of the mask. I'm okay with the decreasing opacity for the mask because I can control it. And if I need to add another layer, for example, I'm going to add a generator here, it's not affected on the layer. So we can do it. Okay, we have this color variation here. It's good. And let's go for the color variation number 2. Okay, this color variation technique, it's super useful to create slight and good color variation. So let's keep just color, put it on black, change it to soft light. So I'm going to create darker value of the color that we have. So let's add generator and 3D linear. Okay, as you can see, we have the color shifting here, and I needed to invert it, play with the balance, contrast, and we can see the result. Okay, so let's decrease the opacity of the layer, and boom, I have this. You cannot notice the color is shifting, right? Because we just play with the color value that we have. It's not adding the secondary color on it. So it's very good. It's very perfect. And you can use it like dark or white value. They are the same, but in here, I have the bright color, so I need to use the dark value. When you have a dark color, you need to put this layer to the white, pure white, and change the blending mode to soft light. So this is the color variation number 2, and I think that's enough for material creation right now. But it's not like okay, we have some interesting part, we have some interesting detail, but it's not like the perfect one. So how we can change it? With using roughness variation. So the roughness channel, it's very important. It's very useful to create more interesting and better looking surfaces. So how we can do that? For this object, I'm going to use a general roughness variation for all surface, so we can bring more shiny surface, shiny area on the material. So first of all, let's add the AO plus. AO plus is like the magic move for adding detail to the channel, that we call it ambient occlusion. So it's a very important channel, and when you want to transfer your material and your the model into some game engine like Unreal, the ambient is very important. Okay, so we need to take care of the ambient occlusion. In default workflow, you never take care of ambient occlusion. You never attend to the ambient occlusion because the channel is off. Okay, so we cannot add anything to ambient occlusion. And what we have is ambient occlusion from the baking process, baking mesh maps. So there's a difference when you have ambient occlusion in mesh maps and ambient occlusion in the channel that you create inside Substance Painter. Where is the difference? So the main difference is when you add some details, for example, some screw on the surface, some scratches, and this kind of details, you don't have ambient occlusion. So the details, they are not attached to the surface. So we need to take care of ambient occlusion. So let's add anchor point to this layer. I'm going to change the blending mode to pass through for all channels. In this way, I can collect all the data from the down layers. Okay, for this layer, I just need to have AO, and I need to put it to 0. So let's add a black mask. Let's add a generator, and I'm going to use the ambient occlusion generator here. Okay, let's use macro details, and in macro height and macro normal, I'm going to use AO plus. So the reference channel should be on normal and height. And as you can see, we have details, for example, this text here, or all the details that we add here on the ambient occlusion channel. But it's not okay because the default one is like this. So how we can solve this? Just use the global invert. So let's decrease the global balance, or maybe increase it. Okay. So the result of the baking process is like this, and the result of the ambient occlusion when you use the AO plus technique is like this. So super perfect. Okay, we add ambient occlusion. Okay, like this, and we can decrease the opacity to 70. Let's apply to all channel, and it's better. Okay, I'm going to add a layer like dirt for overall object, and let's add another color variation for all surface and all models. Okay, I'm going to add another layer like dust. Okay, I just create the layers, and after that I'm going to take care of the masking. And the most important one is the roughness variation. Okay, so at the end, we need to have a paint layer. It's empty layer, and I'm going to call it sharpen because we need to increase the sharpness on the texture. So how we can do that? Let's change the blending mode to pass through again and apply it to all channel. And now I'm going to add the filter sharpen. That's okay. We can choose, okay, we need sharpen on the color, the roughness, metallic, height, normal, AO, or whatever we have. But in here, I just need to have the sharpen in the color, not roughness, metallic, AO, or etc. So the best value is between 25 to 50. So you can choose it because I'm going to use the cavity and the sharpen effect in the post process layer in the Photoshop and or Marmoset. So I'm not going to increase sharpen very much in the Substance Painter because at the end when I use those filter, it's going to super sharpy effect and it's not good. So let's keep it like 25. That's okay. And I'm going to take care of the dirt. For the dirt, we need to have just color, roughness, and metallic. For the color, let's use dark gray. Okay, with the roughness value in upper the middle gray, like 65. Okay, and let's add the black mask and use the dirt generator. Okay, that's good. And we can decrease the opacity amount of the mask itself and in the color value too to something like 85, for example. Okay, we have this effect, is good. That's great. And let's go for the color variation. For the color variation, I just need to have the color. Okay. And it's like this value of the white. And I don't need to have the opacity 100. Maybe 50 is good. Yeah. Let's add a black mask, add the fill layer, and I'm going to use the cracked deep. It's okay. Let's change the tiling to 3. Okay, we have some good variation here. And we can decrease the opacity of the grunge itself to, for example, 25. Now we have some good variation on the color all around the surface. So that's good. And let's go for the dust. For the dust, I'm going to use the default value on the fill layer. Let's add a black mask. Let's add a fill layer. And let's use the dirt number 3. Okay, it's good. But we need to change some shape on it. So let's add a filter like warp. So let's decrease the intensity. We can play with the source, blur, tiling. Okay. And let's change the balance to, like this. Can decrease the intensity too. And now it's time to increase tiling to something like 5 or maybe 6. So we have a very good effect, but we need to decrease the opacity to 50. Okay, we have the dust, and let's add the metal edge. Okay, and change the blending mode to linear dodge. Decrease the wear level. Okay, like this. And you know, I can add a fill layer here, use something like Perlin noise, use multiply, or for example, subtract. Okay, so we can have, okay, let's use it like multiply. And as you can see, we can control the amount of the dust on the surface, and we can decrease the opacity. Okay, let's keep just color and roughness at high value, like this. And yeah, perfect. Okay, let's go for the roughness variation. For the roughness variation, I'm going to keep just roughness with 0.2 value. Okay, we have shiny surface and it's good. It's very good. But I need to add a black mask to control it and just add a fill layer. So in the fill layer, let me use the multi-purpose imperfection, the map 37. I think it's good. Yeah. And let's increase tiling to 5, for example. Okay, now we have a good looking roughness channel, but I think it's too much, right? So let's add some blur to map something like 25. Okay, and let's add a level. So let me increase the black value. Okay, and now we can play the roughness variation. That's great. So we can decrease the blur value, and let me decrease the opacity of the fill layer too. So we have this effect. Okay, and now we have the roughness variation on the surface. That's great. That's super cool. Okay, so without the roughness variation, we have this looking. With the roughness variation, we have this one. So it's so much perfect. Okay, so this is the core structure for the texturing process, but I'm going to add more sticker on it. But for the sticker, I use a simple technique that I'm going to show you. And after that, I just pause the video and do all the repetitive steps. And after finishing the process, I'm going to show you which part that I add to the structure that we create until now. So the technique is so simple. Let me a simple brief to understand what's happening. And I just search about the JCB as a brand for a grinder that we have here. So I'm going to use this. It's like a simple Google search about the product label, JCB sticker, JCB logo, and this kind of searching technique. Okay, so let's use a simple product label here. So let's add this test layer here, and I'm going to put the label here. Just keep the base color, and we need height and maybe roughness. Okay, so let's change the UV wrap to none and reposition this label in here. Okay, like this. And whenever you rotate to the view as an unwanted action, you just press F to reset the view. So, okay. Like this. So we have this label on the position. Let's add anchor point. Let's go to the black mask. Use fill layer. In the fill layer, I'm going to use the anchor point of the test, which is on the same layer. And the reference channel should be on base color because we use the base color channel on the layer. And for the alpha behavior, we need to change it to extract alpha. That's okay. So we have the dynamic mask here. So let's add the anchor point. Okay, here. That's okay. And I'm going to add a paint layer. And let's add another anchor point. And I'm going to add a suffix like cut. So in this paint layer, I need to paint some cut area of the label like this. But in the reality, when you remove some surface like a sticker from plastic or the metal, there are some remaining part. Most of them are white. So we need to create another fill layer. Okay, I'm going to call it back test. And let's add a black mask. Let's load the fill layer. Okay, in the fill layer, I'm going to load the test mask, which is the first anchor point. That's okay. And the second one is test mask cut. Okay. So let's subtract this layer from this layer. So we load the mask itself and we subtract the paint area, and this is the result. So for the backtest, I can add another paint layer and just change the blending mode to subtract and remove the area too. Or we can use, let's paint some area. Okay. Or we can use a fill layer as a subtract layer and just use, for example, this imperfection. Okay. And we can play with the level. Okay. So we have this effect. Or we can put the level here too. Or anything else. Now it's time to pause the video and do the work. And after we're back, I'm going to explain you what's happening. Let's do that. Okay, now we back again and let me explain you what's happening. So the structure is the same, but I create separate layer, label 1, label 2, label 3, label 4, and a simple back label. For the material, I use this structure. Okay, let me show you in here. Okay, it's super simple. White value, a little positive amount in the height, roughness in the middle gray, and I just use BNW spot 3 for the color and the height. So, as you can see. Okay. And this is for the material. let's go back to the label structure. And this is label 4, as you can see. So we have a logo, a positive amount in the height, roughness in the middle gray, again. And this is the second logo that we have here. We have base color and the roughness variation as a sublayer. We discussed this before. And in the label mask, as you can see, I have the anchor point loading with the same setting, the anchor point for the mask, a paint layer for the subtraction, and we have anchor point for this. So in the back label, I just load all the label mask alpha here, and I add the mask cut anchor point here as a subtraction layer. I have this subtraction layer as a fill layer, grunge map number 14, and a paint layer again for the cutting edge, and the warp for giving more natural look. So this is a simple structure that I followed, and this is the final result that we have. Okay, so this is the end of the video, and if you like this video, you can hit the like button, share your thought in the comment section, and don't forget to subscribe our channel and hit the ring for noticing the future video. Thank you for watching. Be creative. Bye.